All right, let's watch Bo.
I love Bo.
Bo Burnham last year came out with an album called Inside.
It was amazing.
Great songs, funny sketches, really good.
I think you and I had that whole thing on repeat all summer long.
It was a very good album. Well, yesterday, he tweets like once or twice a year. And when he does, it's a big event. He tweeted yesterday and told people that he's got new stuff coming out and then dumped this. It is a collection of outtakes from his last album. Now, this one, how it didn't make it on the album, I have no idea.
Okay.
But it should have been on there. It is a mockery of all things bro podcasts.
I'm excited.
Here we go. By the way, I think the guy on the left is Joe Rogan, and the Bo Burnham on the right is Brendan Schaub.
Gotcha.
That's my opinion. Oh, here you go.
What is up? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am your host, Bo Burnham, joined in studio, as always, by my co-host, Bo Burnham. What up, what up, what up? And we are two comedians who are talking shit, no filter, not giving a fuck what anybody thinks. Not a fuck. And, not apologizing for it. So.
It's spot on so far.
It's too goddamn spot. Man, no filter. We don't give a fuck. Why is it that all these podcasts... Now, this show doesn't have a filter. This show doesn't give a fuck. But it's douchey for me to say that.
You shouldn't have to say it out loud. It's just how the show is.
You just do your show and you're like, this guy is insane. You don't say shit like that.
Right.
And then you just go, well, that's how I talk. You don't brag about it.
That's just how I am.
I don't do a show that goes, yeah, I'm going to try to have no filter. That's how you end up sounding like, well, Brendan Schaub or a douchebag. You just do your show, and if you're naturally a piece of shit, that will come out on the air.
Let's get into it and might say some crazy shit. Yeah, let's do it. PC culture, man, it's fucking exhausting, right, bro. It's fucking out of control. Exhausting. It's just, our culture has been taken over by a radical group of SJW feminist freaks, who hate comedians. They hate us. Who are anti-comedy and anti-joke. Totally. And it's gotten to the point where you can't say anything. No, literally, 100% say anything.
Oh,
literally.
no.
Dude, it's too fucking spot on.
Perfect.
It's too spot on. And by the way, he is right to make fun of that. I know everyone wants to take their sides and whatever, and man, you got to defend free speech. I mean, yeah, sure, but like, everyone thinks that anybody telling you that you suck is like violating your free speech. Yeah. It's gone too far now where people are like, I don't like that comedian. I think he's a piece of shit and he's offensive. And you're like, why are you taking away his free speech? Like, dude, he's got a fucking Netflix special on right now. I think his free speech is intact.
I think he's going to be good. Plus, it's just my free speech to say I think he sucks.
I think he sucks shit. That's all. Now, do I think it goes too far when people are like, I'm going to make it my life's work to make sure this guy gets canceled and gotten rid of? Yeah, that's obnoxious and that's a waste of your life. But
that's gross.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and do a podcast about it.
Well, I will try to say something right now. Yeah. Watch. Yeah, and he is trying. And it's unbelievable because we have fallen so far from the heyday of comedy. So depressing, dude. When, Tony the Pancake was headlining the Comedy Store.
Fuck off. That's hilarious. Come on. And that's how they sound, though.
This is horrible. I mean, he's doing a good job, but it is horrible stuff.
Tommy Williams on a Tuesday night, they would just fucking murder, just fucking that, absolute, just crushing, dude. And
what makes this
these faces too?
What makes me laugh about this so hard is this is every comedy podcast out there, and these comedians. The worst thing that ever happened is comedians became bros. Comedy's for fucking dorks. All right? Always has been, always should be. Comedy is for nerds.
That's true.
It's not cool. It's not cool to go up there and tell your jokes and be on stage. You're a jester.
Yeah, you are all supposed to be dorks. You're right.
You're a fool. You're a buffoon. That's your job. The minute these guys started taking it seriously, podcasts were the worst thing to ever happen to comedians. Because now they all get on there and they're like, people are really interested in what we do.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
You and I have had that conversation before that when you try to listen to a comedian do a podcast, all they want to do is talk about their comedy over and over again and the industry.
Look, we see your comedy on stage. We barely give a fuck about it then. What makes you think we want to hear a 2-hour podcast about it? Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because these people, they don't understand comedy. Of course not. We're joking.
It is not that serious, guys.
Okay, it's not that serious.
Joking
around. And also,
all right?
we as comedians are philosophers.
Yes,
all right,
dude.
Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor.
We are.
Okay, and then this part is hard to see, but it says this episode is sponsored by Man Stuff's Dick Spray. Does your junk go skunk? Use one of the Man Stuff's patented spray-on dick odorants. Use the promo code INSIDEPODCAST for 20% off your first dude buy.
That's fun.
It's a little too on the nose.
We hold up a mirror, history-changing cultural figures, and you need to recognize that, all right? Comedy is an art form.
Yeah, of course it is. We're artists.
It's an art form, and it's important because it's one of the only art forms that is not gay. No, no, we can't say that. But, but yeah, gay. But not. Now they're going to come after us, right? We're going to get canceled for saying this.
He's got it. He nailed it, though.
Dude, it's a little too good. And how did this not make the special? This would have instantly been my favorite thing on that entire album.
I think it's pretty great, but maybe it's just not
gay. Oh, we're gonna get canceled for saying that. Dude, just say your words.
Maybe
don't act like you're dangerous for saying your words.
This could have been a cool intro or outro.
Yeah, like the end of the show could have been this.
You homophobes. We're not being homophobic.
Okay, no, it's
when we say that.
It's gay is just
if there was another word that meant gay that wasn't gay, we'd use that. But there isn't one.
But there isn't. So it's gay.
But yeah, so it's really just a war on comedy that I realized. I was having a conversation with my sparring partner.
Nice.
And I realized that
I get it now. Yeah. That narrows it down a little bit.
It's too fucking good. I guess there's 7 seconds left. Let's just get it.
The war on comedy is really...
All right, that's the end of it. Oh, Bo Burnham.
That is kind of sad that wasn't on there, but at least he let it out.
I know. I'm glad that he released that. It was really, really funny. Everybody should eat shrooms and befriend oil lobbies to stay real, brah.
Wow.
Carlos says every single comedian has a podcast. Maybe 4 of them are good. Yeah, and that's generous.
That's
how many of them would be anywhere if it weren't for Daddy Rogan?
None of them. None of them would be anywhere without him.
Death by Media says, I love they can't say anything, but then goes on to say the things you can't say for hours.
Yeah, we can't say this thing, but now that we brought this thing up, let's talk about how we shouldn't be saying this thing and how people are going to come after us for saying this thing afterwards.
Dude, you know what we can't do anymore? The thing we do every week when we do this podcast.
Yeah, the thing we just brought up that we're now talking about.
Yeah, that thing that we're talking about now, we're not allowed to do that.
Oh, but now let's talk for hours about how we shouldn't be doing it while we're doing it.
See, I tweeted about this yesterday. I said everyone taking sides has ruined everybody's ability to see funny. Like everybody's like, oh, I got to be team cancel culture or team woke, or I got to be team left or team right. It's like, you do know that everyone on both of these sides is fucking hilarious. They're silly.
Yep. Pick a side equals removing all funny.
Yeah. Now you only get to laugh at half the people. Don't you want to laugh at all the people? Come on, guys. Don't we want to make fun of all of them?
It's fun to be able to laugh at a Joe Biden and a Donald Trump.
Yes.
Always.
But people they'll laugh at, ha, Joe Biden, ha. Yeah, and isn't Trump fucking stupid? Hey,
oh, don't you say his name.
What did you say? Donald Trump is trying to save this country, man.
He's a motherfucking hero.
I know, then you just feel the fun get sucked out of the room because this guy couldn't handle a little bit of ribbing of his guy.
I always, especially like going back in small town where I'm from, I always hate trying to make a joke about something and then I can tell somebody got real serious on me and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have even brought that up, huh?
Slen Lenzi says Joe Rogan and Corey. I don't think Corey doesn't do a show where he talks about comedy all the time. I don't think.
Who did Corey do? Oh, it was him and Josh Denny did a podcast. Remember Red Bar ripped them apart, and it's because they were talking about
about their comedy, man, and censorship, dude, and all of that. Yeah. Nick says, don't you hate it when bros start a podcast and talk about comedy and wanting to be fighters? Oh, is he trashing me? Yeah, that's why I haven't been talking about me having a fight on June 11th. Sorry.
Are you on the road to being Brendan Schaub?
I guess I am. I mean, not talking about it and everything. Nick, you tried. You failed. But, hey, you'll do it again later. H says the only thing missing is Bo smoking a cigar while drinking some rare scotch. I think that would have passed it. That would have been too on the nose.
Right.
I think. Ryan says, talking with my sparring partner, bruh. Joe says, Biden jokes were funny in the beginning. Now it's just sad and embarrassing. Nah, I still think he's funny.
It's okay to keep laughing.
Yeah. I mean, now more than ever, you got to keep laughing. The more fucked it gets, the more you got to remember to...
Yes, I think...
The only thing you have left is that these people are a goof.
The harder it gets to laugh, I think it's that much more important that you still laugh.
Death by Media says a lot of people went left because everything became a grift. The commodification of everything, including reality itself, makes you want to go anti-capitalist pretty hard, though. Wow. I mean, I just wanted to make fun of everybody, but that's cool, too. We could do that. Awesome.
Jeez.
Ghislaine says, April, COVID looks great on you.
Thank you. I think I got some congestion today, but this is the first day I woke up without a fever. I think that's a huge plus. I'm feeling a lot more like myself.
Congratulations.
Glad to be back in the world.
We're glad to have you back, for the love of Christ.
Hey, and this was day 5, and quarantine is 5 days now.
We're done. We're going out. Getting everybody sick. Guys, we are $405 away from our goal today. This one is a pretty important one to hit because we are at 460 for the next 2 morning shows. So we cannot be adding on to that. And also, if we hit overtime today, we have a new Fool to watch. We're going to be doing Only Use Me Blade for overtime today. So if you feel like chipping in, there's the PayPal link in the chat. Super chats and super stickers also welcome. There you go. If you guys feel like chipping in, we could really use that. Thank you. 3 people on PayPal today. We could use 15, 20 more if you could. Speaking of comedians and not being able to say anything, man... Rich Voss, who used to be, who was a comedian who was on the old Opie and Anthony show a lot, been doing it for like 40 years. Rich Voss, he's been
That's a long time.
a long time comedian. He was at, and now this always bums me out when you have guys in their 60s who are still doing comedy at comedy clubs.
Oh, that's not good, right?
That always, it's always a bummer to see. Like seeing a guy who's in his 20s and he's headlining at a comedy club, you're like, hey, that'll be a fun story for him to tell.
He's making his way.
Yeah, that'll, at least no matter what happens in his life, at least he's got this. That's pretty fun.
But when you're in your 60s, shouldn't you be doing like some big specials?
You should be doing a little bit more than that or be able to be retired.
Oh, that too, I suppose.
It's kind of like, we have a guy who used to do this show with us. He's in his 40s and he's still traveling around opening for people and paying money to go on vacations to go work. And it's sad to watch people. Like in your 20s, the fake it till you make it attitude is fine. You have to. You haven't done anything yet. But if you're pushing 50 and you're faking it till you make it on social media and all that, it's like, dude, do you know how many years you've wasted of being able to try the thing you should have been doing your whole life and you could have made it in that?
You just kind of, you want more for them.
Yeah. I mean, at least with Rich Voss now, he is a guy who's been headlining for 3 decades. Yeah. I mean, but look at this place. Look at the place he was performing at. Do you want to be in your 60s?
Going to Rumors?
Going to Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. I mean, it just seems like...
I don't think so.
Ugh.
That seems beneath him if you've been doing it that long.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because an Ojibwe woman says she was among at least 30 people who walked out of Rumors Comedy Club in Winnipeg, Canada on Friday due to a number of racist and homophobic comments they heard from the stage. Here we go.
Another case of people that shouldn't be in a comedy club.
I know. And like racist, homophobic, there's a difference if they're like shouting the N-word at someone or they're berating someone or, things like that. But like telling jokes, guys, you can walk. And by the way, walking out of a comedy club, I have no problem with the people walking out. That's what you're supposed to do.
I was just going to say that's what they should be doing if they can't deal with what they're hearing.
It's what the club did in response. That really gets me. Kelsey Lenahan, excuse me, guys.
COVID.
Kelsey Lenahan, I'm not there yet. Kelsey Lenahan says she was almost immediately turned off by comedian Rich Voss's set, which included what she called targeted harassment toward a table of indigenous women.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. One of the things he said was, listen, lady, I'm not your sponsor. You need to go to the next AA meeting. Rich Voss has a terrible lisp.
Okay.
He was making a joke about a talent show and saying that, these ladies would likely come up and make dream catchers, she said.
I mean, that's pretty on the nose, I guess, but if anyone's ever sat in the front tables at a comedy show, you get ripped on no matter who you are.
I mean, going with the AA sponsors and you're making dream catchers,
it's a little
I can get it where
racist.
people would walk out at that. I can get where some people would be like, I came to watch a nice comedian tell some jokes. And then you see a table of ladies and you tell them they're a bunch of drunk Indians who make dream catchers. I can see where the rest of the room would go, it's hilarious. And then that table of people would be like, fuck that, I didn't come here to get shit on. And they would leave.
Is it only okay if he then moves to the next table over and says something equally as offensive about them?
Now you have to do the Lenny Bruce thing, where you just go and pick out a thing about each race or Don Rickles.
I think you've gotta cover everyone in the room to that level.
The American comedian also made a joke about hoping the women would get ticketed for driving under the influence on the way home, she recalled.
Oops.
Lenahan, who is from Pinayumutang First Nation, says the table of women left in the middle of his tirade, and she left the club to follow them to make sure they were okay. Oh, God, that's a white lady.
That has to be a white lady.
That's a white lady who's like, I just needed to make sure that the Native American women were okay, so they knew I was an ally. Oh,
That's
God.
such a gross move that almost makes you look worse.
Yeah. When she reached them, she said they were upset. Why can't we be able to come out for a fun night without our indigeneity being brought up, without that being the center of his jokes and attacks, Lenahan said. To see my sisters and my relatives be treated this way, you get this sense of protection. Although she was outside the auditorium for part of his set, Lenahan said she could hear Voss continue his comments about the women.
At least he's leaning in, right?
He
stands by his jokes.
That's old school.
Yeah.
It's just leaning in and just you keep going. Because you know why? Because the rest of the room was probably laughing their fucking balls off.
And look, this Kelsey chick's calling them, she said jokes and attacks. I mean, they're not attacks. It might be a joke in poor taste, but it's still a joke.
Kind of attacks.
Is that an attack, though,
I
if
mean,
you're going to a
bit.
comedy show?
You Indian ladies are making dream catchers and getting DUIs and going to AA
like
meetings.
I said, in poor taste.
I feel like one joke is funny. 2 jokes, and all right, I'm there with you. 3 starts to feel like it might be targeted.
We didn't hear what else he said about anyone else yet.
It should be up to us to be prepared to toughen up our hearts and be equipped to laugh at the traumatic events. Shelley Laval, one of the women who was directly insulted by Voss, said she feels spiritually wounded. See, now this is where it gets to the other side of this, where I think comedy should be for people who are ready for anything.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he meant to attack them. I think he did a bad joke.
Look, I'll say, let's be fair about this. Because like I said, this comes back to everybody takes sides.
Yes.
Everyone's either going to take Rich Voss's side or these ladies' side. Here's the truth of it. Were these ladies probably a bit sensitive and wound really tight about their heritage? Yeah, absolutely. Did Rich Voss help?
No.
No. Rich did not help at all. He saw them wounded and he swung for the fences.
I feel like a comedian, though, is that not in their kind of nature, though? Like they see somebody who's an easy target and like they're behaving as such and they're going to keep going for it?
Yes, thus the not helping part.
You're right, but that goes back to your statement of maybe don't go to these things if you're not ready for it.
Maybe, and maybe that's part of it, but also, and I don't hear Rich Voss complaining about this, but I saw a lot of comics complaining about this. This is how it got on my radar. This is how comedy works. You tell your jokes, the audience gets to perceive your jokes, and then they make a determination about you based on the jokes you told. Yep. Everyone thinks that that's canceling, or everyone thinks that that's, oh, you fucking pussies. You tell your jokes, you do your performance, the people who watched you get to decide if they like you or not. These comedians think they have a right to just always be liked by everybody because I told some edgy jokes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you fall on your face.
Not every joke hits.
Not all of them hit. And sometimes people are allowed to think you suck. It's part of the deal. Rumors Nightclub has an ethical responsibility to ensure that all people are safe from insensitive racial ambushes. All right, well, now this is where we get into the part that makes my head hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm like the guy in Pulp Fiction. My name is Paul, and this is between y'all. I don't take a side. I just tap out. I go, oh, racial ambushes. Okay, you know what? That's usually where I leave. I leave on racial ambushes.
I think so too. I think anytime racial comes up or like misogyny or something like that, you just leave.
Here's the poster for Rich Voss's show at Rumors Comedy Club. Look at that guy. Does that look like a guy who exercises good judgment? Look at his hat.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, you're right. That guy should be doing something different with his life. He needs to be retired on a beach or something.
I recommend if you buy tickets to a comedy show, just do a quick Google or YouTube of who you're going to see and then decide if you want to go.
Not a bad choice.
We all have responsibilities. If you're a live performer, you're responsible for how people take your act. You know, if you told some jokes and they don't like you, they don't like your kind of comedy. Tough shit. Nobody's canceling you. They just don't like you and they don't want to see you again. But also, if you're an audience member, you have a responsibility, I think, to be educated about who you're going to see and if it's something you want to check out.
I've never gone to a comedy show where I didn't at least know about the person I was seeing.
Mark Turner, who was sitting at a table with Lena Han, says he felt uncomfortable throughout Voss's set, including when the comedian used the word gay in a derogatory sense. Okay, Canada, for fuck's sake. It's not like he's going to pull out a handgun and shoot you. You don't allow those. Canada really, like, I get it. Voss is old school and he uses words that are probably out of date by now. But also, Canada, you guys got to pull the hemorrhoids out of your asshole and learn how to have a little bit of fun.
Ugh.
No handguns. I love how Canada decided to make our school shooting all about them.
Did they really?
Yeah. Oh, you guys had a school shooting? We're banning handguns. We're doing something.
Oh, my God.
Show-offs. We had a comedian say gay.
Yeah, that is something of Canada. Like, oh, see, we do something about it.
Yeah. Cocky sons of... But we'll invade you. However, he said everyone in his party eventually reached a breaking point. Okay, so let me say this about a comedy show. I'm not the guy who's always taken the comedian side. I think that's kind of hacky. When all of these people are coming out to the newspaper and going, this guy made me super fucking uncomfortable, man, you might not have had your best show.
Nope.
That's all.
Might have had a few misses.
The one that he said caused our table to go, said, right, that's it, we've had enough, and stand up and walk out in unison, was he said, they should all go back to their fucking wigwam.
Now I'm on their side. Dude. You can't do that. That is really rich. I choked on it.
Rich, do I have a problem with it? I have a problem with nothing. But do I also, read the room? Yeah. Go back to your fucking wigwam. It's like if there was a table full of black people and they got offended and walked away. Yeah, go back to your fucking ghetto apartment.
That's
Whoa.
Yeah, he really leaned in hard there.
He then played Indian Outlaw, which I thought was insensitive. That was not supposed to be the walk-off music. Now, prior to his performance, Schultz said he saw Voss. Tyler Schultz, the club manager, said he was there for Voss's set that evening and confirmed he heard some of the racist comments towards the indigenous women. Schultz said he saw Voss becoming frustrated with them and says the women were being loud and disrupting the show. Okay, you can't do that.
But don't you just kick those people out?
But I don't know if you tell them to go back to their fucking wigwams. Prior to his performance, Schultz says, Voss had been very clear to the security guard that he wanted to speak directly to hecklers or people who were talking during his set and didn't want the guard to intervene.
Oh.
Might have been a mistake.
Yeah, maybe just let the guard kick him out, actually.
Afterwards, Schultz said he tried to educate Voss about how his jokes were perceived by the audience and says the comedians seemed to have no idea how offensive they were. In a culture that's so quick to try to cancel people and jump on their megaphones on social media to try to cancel people, we believe in educating people, Schultz said. Well, see, now that sounds condescending.
It does.
Here's what you do if you run a comedy club. You either book the fucker or you don't book the fucker.
Yeah, you just don't book them again.
You don't need to educate them or cancel them. You can go, you know what? That was a real pain in the ass to my business last time he was here. And I'm not going to book him.
I'm quite sure that Rich Voss at this point in his life is not going to be educated.
No. We don't want to censor our comics, but if that type of stuff happens, we definitely don't condone racist remarks like that. And he said he won't be booking Voss ever again.
Well, that's your answer then.
There. Well, then it's done. Now we can be finished with it, all right? He told some offensive jokes. He went after some ladies in the crowd. A bunch of people got uncomfortable and left. And the manager went, wow, I don't want to have a repeat of this experience.
Nope.
Won't be using that dude again. Fair enough.
What a bad decision, though, just to say, like, nah, I want to go directly at the hecklers and the people being loud and disruptive. Don't kick them out.
I mean, it's old school, though.
It is, but the way he went about it was a bit strong.
Labglass says you try to walk those people if they are up front. Well, he did. He walked them.
I have seen that happen at shows before when there's like a group of people in the back, like a table that's been super loud, so the comedian will just go right after that person.
Right.
But nobody ever walks out. I mean, it ends up being very funny.
Right.
They learn.
Maybe it was after the third AA joke or the go back to your fucking wigwam.
Or was it the dream catchers?
Maybe it was the dream catchers. I'm not really sure.